If I come here today and I come and tell you, oh, I actually want to tell you how you can get a job in the NHS, I feel like it will be unfair for me to do that. And it's not because I can't actually create a content like that and you'll probably watch it. But then I feel like I don't have anything that I can tell you that I am sure that this is definitely going to help you. And I know that for a lot of doctors who are GMC licensed already, like foreign trained doctors who are GMC licensed and are in the process of applying for jobs, hoping to get a job, it's already a very difficult situation. There's already a lot of pressure on you from every aspect, from various angles, your family, your friends, and a lot of people asking you, yes, you've passed your exam, what happened, why are you still here? A lot of people don't understand what exactly is going on right now in the job market, so it's already a difficult place to be. And sitting down to do applications is actually not something that is so easy. It involves a lot of mental ability, and not just that, you put a lot of time into it, and despite all of the effort you put, it's actually disheartening that a lot of times what you keep getting is rejection, why they are not going to pick you for the job. And even for some of them, you feel like, I am qualified for this job, I have everything that this job is asking for, and why can't I just get this job? Why is it so difficult? And even for some persons, it's just like at that point where it's like, I don't even know what I'm doing right, I don't even know what I'm doing wrong. It can actually be a very difficult place to be. And a lot of advice flying around, people telling you, oh, I did this, I did that, it worked for me, maybe you should try it. Somebody will say, okay, go for this course, tighten your CV, or pay somebody to review your CV, or try to do this. And different people keep making suggestions out of the goodness of their heart, really hoping that it's going to help you. But the sincere truth is, a lot of things have changed between when that person actually got a job in the UK and now. And that is actually the same reason why I won't be able to sit here and tell you, oh, this is what you can do in order to secure a job in the NHS, because I don't know what you can do that is better than what you're already doing, that is going to definitely qualify you for a job. In this video today, I'm going to be sharing about the post-PLAB 2 challenge, or the reality of the post-PLAB 2 experience for doctors, foreign trained doctors. And of course, I know that I am not like in that situation right now, but I feel like I've been on platforms where I've heard a lot of people, talking about it, sharing, their pain, sharing their struggles. I've met a few people online who are also in the same process talking about it, and you can see that it is quite traumatic for them. And I truly understand why it is, because a lot of money goes into writing these exams. Not just the money alone, the effort that you put into it, the mental activity, the mental work that actually goes into preparing for these exams. It's actually a whole lot of investment. And then doing all of this in the hope that, or when I'm done, I'm going to be able to secure a job in the UK and finally live my my dream. And at the end of the day, all of this right now is in your face, and everything is just looking hopeless and bleak. And I know it's a very difficult place to be, really, and I can't say that I understand. And that is why I feel like I will not come here and tell you, oh, this is what you should do. Because the time I applied for jobs, I got like 9 interviews and 2 job offers, and that was just about 2 years ago. But I know that between then and now, a whole lot has changed. And so I know that whatever advice I'm giving you right now may no longer be helpful. And if I tell you, oh, come and do this, how sure am I that is going to really produce that result for you? If you have been following my channel, you will know that I've actually been creating a lot of videos talking about PLAB 2 and all of that on my channel. And that's basically why I'm doing this video, because I feel like a lot of times I have been talking about, is it worth it, should you even start the process and all of that. But I feel like a lot of times I have not really talked about those who are like at the peak of the process, people that they can't just easily look away because they have invested a lot, and the only thing they can do is just to keep open. What happens to those people? And I think that this video is actually for that category of people today. So peradventure you are there, you're already GMC qualified, you're GMC licensed, you've passed all your exams, and you're in that phase of job application and everything is just going crazy, and it's just like, okay, what do I do from here? Then I think this video is for you, and you want to stay till the end. Hello, my name is Blessing, and I'm a doctor currently practicing in the UK. And here on this channel, I talk about medicine, I talk about being a doctor, and I also share my journey as a doctor in training here in the UK along the way. So if this is something that interests you, feel free to join the community by tapping on that subscribe icon, become a part of us. And so let's just get into the video of today. Okay, so to start with, just like I already said, that some 2-3 years ago things were really different. After you become GMC licensed, in a period of 1-2 months, you actually get a job here in the UK. And let's even say, okay, like for me, as at the time, which was 3 years ago, that I even struggled, like I got frustrated at some point, you know, despite the fact that how many applications did I do? As at that time, things were already becoming a bit difficult. And I remember that was the point when I had to actually apply for jobs for like how many months? 3 months. And it's crazy because every opportunity, every time I see a new job being advertised, like I'm always on track job to actually apply for jobs. Sometimes I sleep very late into the night because I'm trying to finish a job application, because I'm not sure that by the time I wake up the next morning, that job will still be there. And you know, sometimes I wake up very early in the morning to make sure I finish the job application before work hours, because the application might just close, you know, anytime. And it was actually very stressful. I remember I got to a point and I told my husband, I said, babe, I'm done. I'm not doing this again. Like, it's already beginning to tamper with my mental health. And it was actually that stressful. It took a lot of my energy. And so I can't imagine somebody now having to sit down and, you know, tasking yourself and telling yourself that you have to do up to 10-20 applications in a day. That is crazy, and I can't even deal with it because I don't even know I'm going to do it. But the truth is, sometimes you don't actually know you have the capacity to do something until you find yourself in some really desperate situations. And even for myself, I've had the opportunity to, you know, reach out to a few friends about some job opportunities, you know, around me, that despite all of the effort that goes into it, and then every time you keep getting rejection email, you know, with every email you get, there's that tiny, oh my god, did I get it? You just want to be invited for an interview. You're not even saying, hey, just invite me for the interview first. And then you have actually, a lot of persons have been talking about the fact that recently they apply for a lot of jobs and not even an interview, talk more of an offer. And I know it's a very difficult place to be, but then what is the real situation? So I think, based on the current happenings in the country, I think it's safe to say that the UK is not what it used to be anymore for foreign trained doctors. And because a lot has changed, or a lot is changing, and a lot may still change in the policies around immigration. And that is major, because whatever happens, whether you're a doctor, you're a nurse, you're anything, you're still coming into this country makes you an immigrant. And you know, whatever happens around immigration will still likely affect you. And you know, with current issues around immigration, it's actually not looking very good. And then not just that, then there's the issue of the BMA policy. There's been a lot of concerns on the media about how UK medical trained doctors are not UK trained doctors are not getting into specialty training posts, because a lot of foreign doctors are taking up those slots. And you know, the BMA has made a move, the British Medical Association has made a move, you know, to lobby the government into passing more like a bill that, okay, when it comes to allocating specialty training, the UK medical graduate should be considered first before any other person. And for the any other person in this category, I mean IMGs, or foreign trained medical doctors. Now the challenge is, I know a lot of, in the past, what it used to be is that a lot of IMG doctors come in, take up non-training roles, and they are happy with that, get settled into the system, understand how the NHS works before they decide to go into residency training. But now people have been forced to actually take the residency training option, because it seems like that is the other option that is available, because non-training roles have become much more difficult to get. The situation is, if that happens, and then it's like you need 2 years of NHS experience, so it means that those 2 years of NHS experience has to be in a non-training role. So if you're not getting a non-training role, how do you even get to gather the 2 years of NHS experience? Talk more of going into specialty training. So for you to even think of getting into specialty training as a foreign trained doctor, it means that you have to first cross the ordeal of getting a non-training job here in the UK. There is also this document called it's much more like a program or a project, like the NHS long-term workforce plan, which is a plan that, okay, by so time, over a period of 15 years, they have a plan to actually reduce the number of internationally trained medical professionals in the NHS down to about 9 to 10.5%, and that value currently is at 25%. So it means that it's going to be much more than 50% drop. And with the plan that by that time they would have had enough time to train their own doctors and professionals locally. So the whole plan is we want to train our own professionals domestically, so that we don't need to depend on internationally trained medical professionals anymore. And that has already kickstarted. There's already a lot going on. Some professionals are now being brought into the NHS, and some of these persons are able to take off some of the roles of lower cadres of doctor. That used to be available to that used to be available for non-training doctors in the past. They are no longer being funded because some of these other professionals, particularly the physician associates, the anesthetics associates, and there are also some other cadres of professionals, some ACPs, ANPs, and a whole lot of these people are beginning to take up some of these roles, such that it is reducing significantly the need for lower cadres of doctor. So that is why recently there has actually been a whole lot of job cuts, and is also one of the reasons why the BMA is actually planning to ballot for another strike. And I feel like there is a whole lot of drama going on within the UK itself, within the NHS, and I just feel like really if anyone has not started the process, I would just even advise you that please don't even start. I think this is the point where I would advise anyone that if you have not gone far, maybe you have just written your PLAB 1. Now, for those who have done PLAB 1 and they are thinking, should I go ahead to do PLAB 2 or not? It still depends on what you want to do. Now, I know some people will be hoping that, oh, yes, the dust will still settle, things are going to normalize, they will still need doctors in the future. I am also hoping the same, but the thing is, that is just going to be an assumption, because with the current things on ground, it's not looking like it doesn't look like a lot is going to change in anytime soon. So, but if you want to go ahead with that process, that's fine. But then let's say you have done maybe just your PLAB 1 and you're hoping to do your PLAB 2. Then there are still some countries where your PLAB 1 might still be useful. For example, a place like Ireland, if you have your PLAB 1, you don't have to write the PERS 2. You just go ahead and register for their PERS 3. And then you can continue your journey into the Irish medical system. And I know that some guys will be like, okay, PLAB is not just for the UK, so even if you have your PLAB, it's not a total waste. That is definitely true. However, it's actually not straightforward like the way it is in the UK. For most countries, they will need you to have some UK experience with your PLAB, results. This is the point where we actually need to, if you have not started the process, I will still advise, as much as it's your choice, it's your decision, whatever you want to do in terms of your career, but I still feel like this is the point where you should really consider it carefully if you still want to do the UK pathway, because I feel like it's actually more reasonable now to consider countries with more stable policies, like countries like the US, countries like Canada. Just do your research. Go for countries that have stable policies, and not countries, like the UK, where things are changing, where things change quickly, policies change quickly. Find a country that is more stable, that that even if it takes me 2 or 3 years to complete this process, I still feel like by the time I complete this process, there should still be a higher chance of being able to progress all through, to be able to get into that system, and not a system where it's taking you 2 years and you're not sure that within those 2 years a lot wouldn't have changed. And for those who have already done everything, I will still say, 1, the MSRA pathway, still continue preparing for your exams. Government hasn't said anything, nothing has been concluded. This is just BMA lobbying for something. The government has not come out to say, even though there's a lot of green lights, it looks like the government might go in a particular direction, but until that happens, it means that there is still no law against it. So please continue to prepare for your MSRA. If you actually have plans to do the MSRA exam, prepare to the best of your ability. In the process, to keep applying for jobs. You just don't know, things might change. You might just get lucky, because as much as the jobs are scarce, I still know that a pocket of people are still getting jobs. A lot of doctors here in the UK are also applying for these non-training roles. Doctors who have not been able to get into specialty training, they need to be in a job that can offer them COS, and most of the time these non-training roles are able to do that for them. I think in conclusion, I would just say that it's a difficult place to be, but at the same time, I think I would just want to encourage you that just keep holding on, and keep trying your best, keep giving it your push, because at the end of the day, whatever happens, I think there's always that thing that comes, that level of fulfillment that comes with the fact that I gave it my best shot, even if I did not get the result I wanted, but I gave it my best shot, so that at the end of the day, to not be like, oh my god, maybe if I had done this, maybe if I had done this, maybe if I had done that. So just give it your best shot. But I also want to advise that I don't think that this is the time where you should be investing your money, your effort into a lot of things that may not really change things. I know there's been a lot of things about clinical attachment. I've heard that some guys are actually paying, to do clinical attachments. Now, maybe some 2-3 years ago, clinical attachment was really helpful for some persons. For some trusts, maybe it still does work, but for most places, it's almost insignificant. It is not considered as anything. It is not considered as NHS experience. It's just you observing how things are done. I think this is the point where you should actually make calculated efforts. And guys, definitely trust me anytime. If I hear anything at all, or I know anything at all that I feel will be able to help with your job application, or that's going to improve your chance, or I hear anything at all that I feel will be useful for you in that process, trust me, I'm definitely going to come and share with you. But in the meantime, I would just say this is actually the time to go back to the drawing board and think of the worst case scenario. Yes, you are doctors, think of the worst case scenario. Like, if the UK doesn't work, then what else? Yeah, I know it can be very difficult to have such thoughts because a lot has gone into it, and it's like, no, it can't fail. But I think it's time to really face the reality. If it does fail, what do I want to fall back on? What's my next plan? What's my next step? So this is how I'm going to be ending this video. Feel free to actually drop your comments. Feel free to share your thoughts. Peradventure, this has been very difficult for you. It's been a very difficult time. Feel free to share. I'm sure there might be some other persons in the comment section that might also be going through a similar experience, and you don't know how much your words, your experience can actually encourage them or strengthen them. So till I see you guys again, take care. Bye.